Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Wally Weasel. Yes, follow it on Wally Weasel. There we go. Kind of screw that intro. Well, almost a year and a half, and finally did it. And well, hopefully that little good spirit will help with this one because this will probably be one of my most controversial videos yet for any type of discussion here on Wally Weasel in terms of Fallout 5. And that is the leave out of my Fallout video, which is what you're watching here. Essentially, it is a list of things that I've noticed that people clamoring for, but I would prefer to not see in a future Fallout title. And yeah, unlike my Pimp My Fallout video, I will stand by all of these all on my own. I'm not going to throw anybody else under the bus. So if you have any negative comments about any of these, go ahead and leave them here. But I will make mention of one other video that to go aside with one of the little tidbits down below, which are seen down below, because everything will be time stamped. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. And first up is the location. Now, one of the favorite location types that people want to see is New York. And for me, I say no. I do not want to see Fallout take place in New York. I don't want to see a standalone game of Fallout take place in New York. Maybe a DLC, maybe an expedition, but a standalone game? No. Mainly because in the Fallout lore, if everyone remembers, New York was one of the first cities that was hit. So basically, we're going to see a big, huge crater in New York, and a lot of the landscape will just not really be there, or it'll be just running around ruined buildings. Not to mention, like, some out of canon stuff. We've seen New York City destroyed countless times. Like if you want to Fallout in New York, you can just play Wolfenstein, or you can play Metro. I'm pretty sure Metro didn't happen in New York, but the landscape of it would be, I think, better in a Metro game because they excel in their Metro tunnel systems. Whereas Fallout 3 kind of, well, less said about that, the better. But yeah, New York is just not an interesting place, I don't think. I mean, if you feel strongly about it, again, go ahead and comment below and try to change my mind. It's going to be a uphill battle, however, just like all of these other things that I have. Unfortunately, I do apologize, but again, no New York. Again, I don't mind for a DLC. I don't mind for a Fallout 76 expedition. In fact, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that. I mean, as of recording this video, Atlantic City is the next expedition, and I'm glad that Fallout is going outside of where they've been before, but a little surprised that they didn't just, do New York. Maybe in the future. Maybe, if you're watching this, like, when they've actually announced Fallout 5, we will have already been to New York, and therefore it won't be a situation. So, or you'll hate the fact that it's in Fallout 76 and go, why can't it be a standalone game? Just like, people who want it to be in Texas, and people are like, no, Brotherhood of Steel or Fallout Texas took place in... Brotherhood of Steel took place in Texas. Fallout Texas took place in Chicago. Maybe. Those are the two games I haven't played. So one of those two is for the other. But again, moving on is the ability to drive in a Fallout world. I don't know if you've followed the road systems in Fallout, but they're not quite built up for cars. And any mods with cars that actually drive along the ground will tell you as such. Like I've seen videos of it in Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. It's just the world just isn't built up for for cars. And I think that's a good thing because it forces you to examine the world as it is, to see the destruction, to allow the developers to create the world as they see fit, to throw things in the way that you'll have to find ways around. Like, could you see yourselves driving through downtown Boston the way it is? It would basically be impossible. You would only be able to drive around it, essentially. And so what would really be the point? Not to mention of all the other things and tidbits that you would miss. But again, it's a personal thing of mine that I just don't want to see driving in any future Fallout game as it's been created. In Fallout 2, it was fine, because you weren't really examining the world. It was just a means of fast traveling on the overworld map, which again, interesting, fine, it works. But with any present day 3D world environment Fallout game, to me, driving just doesn't really work. I mean, piloting a vertibird, maybe, yeah. I mean, the way it's done in Fallout 4 is fine enough, I think. So, maybe in the future they can just give you a vertibird that you can fly around. That is fine, giving you your landing areas and such. So, yeah, maybe. At least that would, make sense. It would make sense with the world, the way it's built up. But, yeah, so no cars. No cars, please. No cars. Next up, and this is a doozy, I know, but I have my reasons. And that is stats. I don't think we need stats anymore in a Fallout game. Like the big guns, the lockpick, the medicine, the survival, the melee, the explosives, all those things. The 0 to 100 stats. We really don't need them in a future Fallout game because everything has been centralized in the perk system. Am I on board with the perk system as it is? I mean, it could use a better upgrade, but as it stands, I'm fine with no stats. And I think it was done, or it was explained best in the Many a True Nerd video, where I believe it was Fallout 4 is better than you think, and he was describing lockpicking. You leveled up, it played the music, you were happy and excited because, hey, you leveled up. It means something good is going on, and you throw all of your points into lockpick because you are there, you are at an adept locked door, and it's like, oh boy, I can't wait to see the treasures. You go from 26 to 47, or what have you, maybe 49, and you hit the lock, and you still can't get through it. So what was the point of leveling up? What was the point of throwing all of your stats into lockpicking? It just doesn't make sense when you can have your perk point right there for your thing, But yeah, like it just, to me, stats just only make sense if you're interested in character builds, but even then, stats aren't really necessary, are they? They're just an additional piece of things you can fill that don't really add up to much. Like again, the perk chart system could stand for an upgrade. Unfortunately, I'm not the one to go over that at the moment, because I haven't really put any thought on that aside from the fact that, hey, improve it. But yeah, stats just are an old thing. I will say, since I'm talking about the perk system, no, I do not want to see the Fallout 76 perk system continue, and that's basically because after a while it just becomes nothing. Like after you've created your build, you just stack up your levels and they don't mean anything. So a perk sheet system over a perk card system is, in my opinion, vastly superior. So I'm hoping that we continue on with that. Again, given some tweaks and fixes and all that. Maybe some new perks, some perks that you may have seen in my Pimp My Fallout video. Maybe you haven't watched that one yet, but I do mention a couple of perception perks that could be possible, and maybe even a charisma perk. Like stuff like that would be good. But yeah, no stats. I'm sorry. Last but not least, and maybe this is the least controversial one. Maybe it's probably going to be the most controversial one, frankly, and that is a survival mode checklist. I do like the survival mode. I gave a survival mode a chance in Fallout 4, my live stream, my most recent live stream, and the unfortunate thing is that there were systems within the survival mode that I just wasn't a fan of, but there were systems that I really, really loved. Like I did love the disease system. I did love the fact of how you could get them. The adrenaline was fun. The not being able to save outside of sleeping was okay, but again, it's a Bethesda game, so maybe come up with a few more ways in which you can save, because you can never trust a Bethesda game to be on the up and up. So yeah, having an improved saving system on survival mode would be an added plus, especially given the vast distances between places and the vast lacking of beds in some of these locations. Nothing hurts more than doing an entire quest like Fort Hagen and then leaving and then getting hit by a stray missile, and then you really have to restart the entire thing from your little rest point halfway to Fort Hagen. So again, or game freezing because again Bethesda, but stuff like that. So a fix on the saving system would be nice, and a checklist, because honestly, does anybody care about the whole eating, drinking, and needing to sleep type deal? It's fine that they've added little detriments if you're not on top of it, but it is kind of busy work after a while. It kind of forces you to do outside things, and I'm sure that's fun for some people. But if you're just interested in playing the game in a harder difficulty and not having to go out and farm for meat or vegetables or what have you, or build up a settlement for that kind of deal, or again in my Fallout 5 hopeful build video for settlement builds, I requested only one settlement, so it would kind of favor me, and anyone who watches that video and says, hey, you're right, let's do it like this, then yeah, it just kind of forces you to grind, and grinding isn't fun when it comes to certain games. So yeah, and honestly, does anybody who plays Fallout 76, still plays Fallout 76, do they miss the survival mode aspects of the eating, drinking, sleeping system that used to be in the game? Because remember that they were there, and then they were just quietly removed. You still got the meters, and you still got the detriments in a way, but I think it's more of a positive to just do it up now. And I think some players out there just kind of ignore the whole icon that appears. So I don't think we really need that aspect. I mean, you can still keep it. Obviously, that's why I say a checklist system, not an updated survival mode system. But yeah, just having it optimized, and it should be like a benefit boost for if you check more things off than not. Like I think Dragon Age Inquisition had something of a system like this, and they made it so that like the more you checked off, the more loot or special loot you would be given on a regular basis. So maybe something like that, like little random loot drops that could happen in your settlement would be nice if you check everything off. Or if you just check off a few things off, then you just only have a moderate chance or a moderate time scale for when such things appear, or you just don't get as fancy stuff. But it's all whatever. Again, hopefully you guys are all feeling relatively kind and nice after all this. Maybe I'll throw up like a little kitten video or something at the end to kind of, calm people's nerves. And if you haven't already seen my Pimp My Fallout, it's a little more positive, so you can go and check that out if this is all left an awful taste in your mouth. Or if you came here from my Pimp My Fallout video, well, then I guess hopefully this little kitten video that hopefully I remember to put on will be what's needed to help calm your nerves and bring out the pitchforks. But if you want to bring out the pitchforks, that's fine. That's what the comment section is all about. So fill it up, baby. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.